Buongiorno, David.
Hello there, Alessandro.
I wanted to ask you, what are the contents of the webinar that you will host for EMCC Italia, the 24th of March?
I want to explore in some depth, what are we really there for as coaches? What is our role in relation to our clients and the world? We've had traditionally fairly simplistic assumptions about, we're there to help our client, but and the client is the person that's paying us in most cases, although of course there's a lot of pro bono coaching too. But increasingly we're starting to question that. It's not just the client, it's the client in their systems and what's going on with those systems. So should we, for example, be working with and helping the chief executive of a tobacco company to make more profits, to plow into killing more people? You can put it that simply, and it's relatively easy to, for most coaches would say no, but you might otherwise say, well, I can coach somebody in a tobacco company, but that's that's okay as long as I'm not helping them to sell more tobacco. So if I'm looking after their well-being, and then like a doctor has the requirement to treat somebody, no matter, it doesn't matter if they're a person that's wounded, it doesn't matter which side they're on, you have a therapeutic role there. So it becomes more complicated the more that we get into it. And I'll be looking at how we start to think about what's the impact that we want coaching to have on the world. And how do we want it to affect the social coaches? The Coaches for Climate Action is a great movement, and it's part of the way that coaches are starting to rethink the way that they relate to the world in which they and coaching exist.
Okay, so I got that we are about trying to get a step forward in what traditionally we call ethical dilemmas. So in a more proactive way and
Exactly.
shared way.
Exactly, but I think it's more than just ethical dilemmas. It's actually recognizing our identity as coaches. And so I've talked about the difference between, are we a profession, are we a vocation, or are we, as I think, somewhere in the middle, a provocation? So yeah, it's bringing us into this different space. And I think there's also some issues around how we create the identity of coaching. I've just today put up a blog which has already got 4,000 or people going for it, liking it, and it's basically saying, what about the gender gap in coaching? There are more women coaches than men coaches, which is great, and that's one of the reasons why coaching has this stronger social conscience. But it's still the case that in most cases the highest paying coaches are men, and whether they're really coaches is another matter. There seems to be very little correlation between profile and self-marketing and fees compared with actually being able to coach. And the good that you're doing through the coaching that you're achieving. So this whole social profile, or this whole social movement, is, I think, being undermined by primarily male, but not exclusively, narcissistic self-promoters who have latched onto coaching and are using it for their own ends rather than for the good, than as a tool for good in society. Now, you could say this is always going to happen. There will be people that exploit things. And it's easy to be moralistic about it. But I think we need to be having those discussions around the identity we want to create for coaching.
Grazie, David. Very interesting. Let me ask you the last question of our brief interview. Why an Italian coach should attend to our webinar?
Well, firstly, because it'll be fun. So we'll have a few. I hope we'll have some laughs and But secondly, I think it's about getting into these issues. How do we individually fit in? So it's about the identity of profession. It's about our identity. Yeah. How does being a coach align with who we are as a human being and what we want to achieve as a human being, the legacy that we want to leave behind us? So those, I think, are important questions for any self-respecting coach. It's something that we need to reflect, or we can benefit our practice, and I think our own health as a coach by reflecting on these things, seeing how the alignment between who we are and what we do.
Grazie, David. I really can't wait to attend to your webinar on the 24th of March, 11:30, which is an unusual time for us, but it's okay. And thank you for your time, and see you the 24th of March. Thank you so
Brilliant.
much.
Thank you, Alessandro.